breaking down the teams you're passionate about. This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, folks, on the downside of the week, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hope you're all well. It is a windy, a little cold outside. Well, you got that freeze warning coming up tonight. So all of you that jumped the gun a little bit with the flowers and stuff, you might be in a little bit of trouble. Lloyd, you haven't planted the garden yet, have you?
Nope, haven't planted the garden yet. I haven't even got the sprinklers going yet because apparently it's going to freeze again. So you're going to have to winterize the sprinklers again.
Yeah, our secondary water hasn't been turned on yet, so no worries there. And I'm afraid that sucker might not get turned on until probably end of May. Considering that we're knee-deep in the middle of a drought. So
right. They're not going to let you get all loosey-goosey.
Yeah, they're not going to let me jump the gun on this one.
Yeah, I feel like my lawn's already starting to dry out, and yeah, the lawn's already looking not great right now.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, well. I already told you, I'm behind pretty much on everything at my house right now. I'm way behind.
Is it just because of the job commitments, the baseball, just the combination, everything?
Everything, yeah. Work, baseball, all that stuff. It's just, I haven't felt it. I haven't felt like I'm ready to do it yet. Not even really the time, anyways. I just feel like there's no time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know.
It's just like, God, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to do this. When I finally, there is a little bit of time. It's like, you know what? I want to relax. You just chill for a little bit. Maybe watch a little sports, do some whatever. Like I just want to. Yeah, I'm not feeling the yard work yet.
Yeah, and that's look. Once you get in the routine, it's all right. But coming out of the winter and then getting back into that routine, where every Saturday you're out doing something. Getting yourself
out of the winter, the doldrums of winter. It's like that's hard. Like I'm just not there. I'm not ready. I did some leaf cleanup because I already told you I was a moron that planted trees that lose leaves in the spring. So I get to do leaf cleanup 2 times a year, essentially. So I got that going, which is awesome. They're great shade trees, but I still having to clean up leaves in the spring is just about the stupidest thing you can do.
So I have a neighbor, and I hope I don't know. Maybe I do hope he's listening. But I have a neighbor that has and it's kind of like right on the line of our houses. And you know that my house, you kind of drop down into the cul-de-sac a little bit. So there's a little bit of an elevation change. And on the side is this crabapple tree. And he really likes this tree, but all it does is produce these crab apples, and then in the fall when they drop, they roll right into my yard, like and gravity just takes them in there.
They sit there, and they get squishy, and then you step on them.
Yeah, it's just disgusting. And I've my other neighbor and I have offered many times, we'll cut down the tree, we'll get rid of the tree, and we'll even buy a new tree to replace it with. And he's like, no, I'm good where I'm at. I'm like, well, okay, but this neighbor is a little up there in age, and so it's me and my boys, and mostly my boys, that get stuck cleaning that sucker every year. And so it's like, hey, you know what? We're the one kind of putting in the work for your tree, so how about we just replace it with something that isn't producing all this trash every single fall? But
you know what's another tree that I really actually dislike, but I can't get rid of it, is I've got a big, giant pine tree that I actually thought about getting rid of, but I realized it's a big-time shade tree, and I can't do that. But all the pine needles and all the pine cones, I had the boys out last weekend, I think it was, and I had them clean up all the pine cones and pine needles that had fallen in the grass. And I'm like, I'm actually happy that I'm at a point where my boys can start doing that a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's always a good moment. Hey, and I don't mean to, I don't know, this is going to sound a little insensitive, and Hans would light me up for this, but I know that you're missing a good chunk of your life with the Boxers not around anymore. But is there like a little bit of an upside that you're not looking at landmines when the snow clears out in the spring?
That's the only positive that has come from not having any dogs right now, is not having to do that snow after snow melts cleanup. And actually, this year would have been easy. Easy to keep up with. But yes, when you have all that snow and they're out there doing their business and it melts, and then you just have nonstop soggy landmines. Yeah, it's a little bit of a mess.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
Honestly, that is probably 90% of the. Actually, I'd say about 70% of the reason. My wife and her allergies are a big, strong percentage as well as to why we've never had dogs. But I just don't want to go.
Adapt.
I don't want to do it.
Jenny will adapt. You know that, right? She'll adapt.
I don't think that's how allergies work. I don't know.
I'm allergic to dogs. I have an allergy, and I did adapt. Yes, I got used to them.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, we got a busy show coming up here in about 20 minutes. Danny Ainge will join us. We'll chat some Jazz with him. Locker room clean out in the rearview mirror. You've heard from his son, Austin. And so there's a lot to recap with what he thinks and what he's expecting in the offseason. And so we'll chat with him and also maybe get some thoughts on the playoffs and everything else that's going on in the NBA landscape. Also coming up a little bit later on, we'll have a chance to chat with Mike Folta. He'll join us at 2:05. We are holding off a little bit because Jay has got to be tomorrow because good luck Jay is we got to hold him out as long as we can before that first playoff game. We don't want to use the good luck in a meaningless regular season game coming up tonight. No. Look, Mammoth lose this game. They sit everybody else. They lose. No big deal. Don't worry about it because this game means nothing. However, on Sunday, we have discovered that it will be game one between the Mammoth and the Golden Knights in Las Vegas. Hey, Lloyd, we getting the green light to a road trip down there? Have you even brought this up with Nate?
No, I'm still a little bit scared of Nate. I'm a little bit nervous of Nate to even ask him that right now.
I think Nate's in a very giving mood.
I think he's in a giving mood?
Yeah, I think we've gone and asked for money over and over and over again, and I think he'll be just like, you know what, just add it to the tab.
We're good. Don't worry about it.
The budget is just overflowing with extra revenue right now, so let's just go ahead and get crazy.
I'm texting him right now.
Okay, I'm sure.
Texting him right now. I'll let you know.
Okay. All right, let's get to it. Speaking of the Mammoth, it's your starting lineup. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to kick off the show with the biggest headlines of the day. This is your starting lineup on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And the Utah Mammoth know what seat they are sitting in on the train of the playoffs. It's first class, wild card one for the Mountain Blue.
Good call by our guy Mike. He'll join us coming up at 2:05. Yes, the Mammoth not only clinched the number one wild card spot, but last night they found out who they'll be playing in the first round of the playoffs, and that will be the Golden Knights. So everything that we'd kind of hoped for has come to fruition. Number one, the Utah Mammoth hold on to that number one spot. They lock that down. Number two, and in doing so, they avoid playing Colorado in the first round, who's just been an absolute juggernaut. And then Lloyd and I and pretty much everybody had been talking about the fact that if you had to choose between Las Vegas and Edmonton, you wanted Las Vegas. Well, Vegas clinches their division title, which means it'll be the Mammoth and the Vegas Golden Knights in round number one in the NHL playoffs. So the playoffs are back here in Utah. We got ourselves some great hockey, and we have, look, anybody you're going to play, whether it's Colorado, whether it's Vegas, whether it's Edmonton, you're going to be playing great teams. But if you have to choose between these teams, Vegas is your squad. And again, Vegas gives.
Hey, that's by the way, despite them being 7-0-1 since the coaching change. Like, I understand they're hot, but I still think they're the better matchup for the Mammoth.
Yes, and look, Colorado goes without saying. We know what a juggernaut they are. But if you have to choose just between Edmonton and Vegas, and I know people are like, well, Mammoth got that big overtime victory against Edmonton. Remember, that was an overtime victory in which you scored the game-winning goal on a power play with Edmonton without its two best players. two of its three best players. Obviously Connor McDavid's the grand poobah, the thing that makes that thing go, and certainly he was on display in that game in Salt Lake City. But the Oilers were a little undermanned, and Utah still needed overtime to beat that squad. So, look, if you want a team to go up against, it's Vegas. You look at the matchups between these two teams. Lloyd, you pointed this out yesterday. Utah went 2-1 against the Golden Knights this year, but every game was a blowout. I mean, you got a lot of 4-0, 4-1, 5-1 games between these two teams this year. And so you've seen games that haven't been particularly close. But what a way to start out the playoffs against a team that comes in red hot in Vegas. But the Mammoth also coming in red hot, who needed to win some games down the stretch, got some key road victories. And, folks, let's get it going. I cannot wait for the playoffs. This is just going to be an absolutely phenomenal opportunity for all of us to experience what playoff hockey is all about. And I want to go back to 2 years ago when we're on the air here and word starts to leak out that, hey, Arizona's in trouble. Arizona's in trouble. And we actually got a little bit of a heads up from our sister station, KTAR, a good old friend of ours that used to host radio shows here in Salt Lake City on the Zone 20-some-odd years ago. Wow, that's hard to believe. That was 20 years ago. But, yeah, Ryan Hatch, who's now down in Arizona. And, Lloyd, you probably remember that infamous email we got from Hatch saying, hey, you guys may want to keep a heads up on things. There's a lot of smoke brewing about the Mammoth, or excuse me, that that this Arizona hockey team is in trouble and that Ryan Smith is going to swoop in and snag him and bring him up to Utah. And we had all heard it, and there was always the rumblings that it was going to happen. But when we actually saw it come to fruition and the Mammoth had to pull off essentially an incredible feat to relocate an entire team, relocate an entire organization, the infrastructure that comes with it in April, and have that team ready to play preseason games in September in an arena that wasn't necessarily built for hockey, and to have it go off without a hitch for all intents and purposes, and then do a massive remodel and completely renovate the lower bowl. You'll have the upper bowl renovated this upcoming summer and the summer after. But in all of that, to have a playoff team in year number 2 of that transition is remarkable. Now, look, SEG, Ryan Smith, Ashley Smith deserve a ton of credit for what they've been able to do. Chris Armstrong, Chris Barney, all these guys deserve a ton of credit. But let's look at Bill Armstrong and what he was able to build previous to coming here to Salt Lake City. Now, he had been pretty much ordered by his ownership down in Arizona, hey, we got to save money. We got to save money. We got to find ways to turn quality players into picks. We're going to essentially rebuild this thing and avoid paying big money as long as we possibly can. So he's swapping players for picks, and he has a treasure trove of actual picks that he can use at his disposal. They come up here to Utah. He starts firing on all those picks and then swapping those picks around for players. And then you've got Ryan Smith who says, no, save mode is over. It's time to spend money. And what's the best way to invest in your team? Not necessarily free agents, but signing your own free agents, the guys who you've spent the time and the effort to develop and put your coaching fingerprints all over. And let's extend guys like Schmal, like Cooley, like Gunther, these guys that are going to be around and part of your organization for a long time. Let's make sure that these guys are happy, that their needs are taken care of, and that they think this is the only place where I want to play NHL hockey. And Utah's established that. Then let's go build a state-of-the-art practice facility that every player that comes into that building in the NHL season and says, wow, there's nothing like that in any other venue in the National Hockey League. Nobody else has that. And now you start attracting players that word gets out. You know, Uyghur finds out, hey, you know what? They're building something special in Utah. They're going to go in the playoffs. They take care of you and your family. You've got the best of everything available to you. You've got a fan base that's absolutely rabid. We need you to waive your no-trade clause and come to Utah. Bam, let's do it. I'm all in. You get guys like Sergachev that you bring in that brings a lot of leadership and a lot of people, a lot of experience of what it's like to win and win at a high level in the playoffs. And you need that veteran leadership to mix in with your youngsters. Bam, you've got that. It has been, frankly, and look, we like Bill. We get a chance to chat with Bill every week on this show. He was on with us yesterday. But the fact that you see a man that's built this team from the ground up and then had to rebuild the infrastructure of the team from the ground up when moving to Salt Lake City, and he's got this team as a top wild card team going into the playoffs with a 38, 39% chance of punching their ticket in the next round. Pretty impressive. And you got a head coach who's doing a heck of a job as well. Andre Tierney addressing the media in Morning Skate earlier today.
You know the song about the lineup, so we'll figure it out tonight. And I think St. Louis, the team, was improve a lot offensively since the break. I think their first line with Thomas Nugarud and Holloway are 1, 2, and 3 in the forward in the league, and then plus and minus since the break. So as well, they are super active, either of the rush and in the ozone play. So it will be important the way we cover those D, and we're above them, and we cover like I said, their activation in the ozone. It's will be a good challenge.
When it comes to just that final game, this is the final opportunity for this regular season. What do you want your team to focus on in tonight, with not with the game plan, but just taking this opportunity to focus on this one last regular season game?
For us, it's a game. It's the game number 82. We don't approach it different than game 71 or so on and so forth. We always had, since the beginning, we always repeat the same thing. It's continue improvement. We still have stuff we want to be better, and we want to keep building momentum and keep getting better. So, like I mentioned, it's a team who really activate their defensemen. So that will be a good challenge to play against D, who can skate, who activate. They made a few moves at the trade deadline, which brought youth and guys who are really good skater in the lineup. So that changed the outlook of their team, and that's where we're focusing on, is how we will defend those guys, and as well keep focusing on the way we play offensively last game with the pace we had and the quick puck movement and the simplicity in our offense.
How would you describe how close this group is, and how has that progressed over the course of the season?
The group is really close, no doubt about it, but it's been tight for a long time. You know, you can go for years and talking about how much that group love each other, how much they care for each other, how much they're tight to each other. You can see it in many ways. The guys wants to play together. The guys sign long term here. They want to play with each other. It's been like that for a long time, and that's credit to our player, our leadership group, who create that brotherhood where they like each other, they fight for each other, they protect each other. They hold themselves accountable. So that's been a strength of that group for a long time.
Does with the playoff matchup already set and everything, does tonight's game, do you go into maybe a little bit of preservation mode? Do you change ice time at all in your rotations?
We want everybody to get in the playoff with a good rhythm. It's a good question, but we'll try to make sure everybody's involved in the game. We try to do that every game. If you look last game, I think our fourth line was really good for us. They give us momentum. They give us physicality. They had good hold on possession. When we had the lead, they help us. So I think we'll try to get everybody maybe a little bit more involved than usual, but we still want our guys to get momentum.
And the question that Cole just asked about closeness, how is this group being close translate to success on the ice, and what that connection looks like? Why is that successful?
I think that's it's like your family. When everything's going well, everybody loves everybody. Okay, when there's adversity, when there's turbulence, when there's roadblocks, okay, now you see how close you are. You know what I mean? It's easy to call a friend or a family member when things are going well. That's easy. Okay, when it's hard, when it's tough, when there were adversity this year, when they were tough moment, okay, now can I rely on my teammate? Who's there for me when it's tough? And I think that is where guys care for each other a lot, and you can see that in those tough moments. And that's where you see it more, not when things are going well and you're clinching a playoff spot. Well, that's not tough. That's easy. Life is easy. It's when we were through some adversity, when we lost at home a few games in a row. Okay, now we'll see who'll show up at your doorstep to help you and to be there for you and put his arm around your shoulder and help you to move forward. When it's an injury or whatever, I think that is where you see, okay, how close is your group.
Andre, you may have answered the question already, but the resilience of this team. I go back to the game in Calgary, big bounce back the other night. There's always been a pretty quick bounce back this year. Besides everything that you just said, is there anything else that you could attribute that to?
I think it's been a strength of our team of, I think how can I describe it is, our guys are really into our team in terms of they care a lot. I say a lot how much they care, but it's when there's a problem, they care enough to try to fix it. Not, I got my guy or I did my job. It's, okay, what can we do as a group to fix it? And I can give a million of examples going back a few years ago where defensively people were saying, oh, they have skill, they will score a goal, but can they defend? Well, this team finished in the top of the league in defending, which with a roster was not an elite one, because the guy said, okay, there's a challenge here, let's get at it, bring it. And it was the same this year at some point. Remember, we're talking with you guys about net presence, where we're getting pushed on the outside. What happened? The guy said, oh, yeah, hold my beer, we're going. You know what I mean? And they fix it, So that's a way as well you see it. They don't see a problem as, oh, got my guy, I went to the net. It's as a group, okay, let's figure that out, and we care about that team, and that team needs to fix that. We'll fix it.
There he is, Andre Tierney, head coach of the Utah Mammoth, part of Morning Skate. By the way, we're going to shift gears, talk a little Utah Jazz. Danny Ainge is going to join us here in about 5 minutes from right now here on The Zone.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Believe it or not, this guy actually has friends. Nice. This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The NBA playoffs are here. Utah Jazz, a little locker room clean out. You've heard from Austin Ainge. You've heard from Will Hardy, the players as well. Now it's time to hear from Danny Ainge, as he's kind enough to join us for our weekly conversation. Danny, how you doing?
I'm good, Scotty. How you doing?
I'm great. All right. First off, though, you have to settle a bet with. I had a buddy of mine. We were watching the Masters, and he asked me. He goes, "Do you think Danny Ainge has played Augusta?" I said, "I'm going to go like, yeah, I think he has." He's like, "I don't know." And so you got to settle a bet for us. Have you put in a round at Augusta before?
Yeah, I have. Let's see. I think I have 5 rounds in Augusta.
Nice. Is it as good as advertised?
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. The first person that took me to Augusta was Mike Reed, the Utah golfer, tour player that's a little older than me. He took me and Bruce Hurst, our St. George Boston Red Sox pitcher, and we had a blast. That was my first memories of Augusta and one of my greatest golf memories.
Nice. Very cool. All right, so how everybody does things a little different. I remember Jerry Sloan wanted everybody to be back for locker room clean out and those post interviews. I know some coaches are like, hey, let's let you get away a little bit, then we'll reconvene and then we'll talk. You're kind of sick of us, we're sick of you. How do you like to run things in terms of those post season conversations?
Well, I guess traditionally I did them like the day after the season ended. Usually, occasionally with players. I mean, you're constantly talking to players, so occasionally a lot of those conversations can start before the season ends, especially with a year like we had this year. But I'm saying even when in championship years, you're talking to guys all the time and talking to them about plans and summer league and different things, different players at different levels. Obviously, I'm not going to be bugging Kevin Garnett about what are his summer plans when we're in the NBA playoffs, but other guys, younger players. So you start the process earlier. But yeah, the last day is kind of the final tune-in typically for me.
I imagine you're not one that shies away from tough conversations, but are those conversations, I mean, obviously you're honest, you're fair, you're direct, but I got to imagine it's important to have those tough conversations at times about what needs to be addressed in the offseason.
Yeah. So, it's not my personality to be like really tough on players, but I do like to answer their questions honestly and truthfully about what I see and what I think they need to do and where they stand in their careers and their opportunities. And so I believe in the honesty for sure. I think that, being angry with players and berating players is typically not my style. It's more, if you want to come back here or be back or find a job anywhere, you need to do A, B, and C. But I think open and honest conversations all the time are very important.
Kevin Love obviously was very complimentary of the organization. Yusuf Nurkic was as well. And I went back and listened to an interview that Kevin Love gave, I want to say a month or two ago, where he was talking to the youngsters about, hey, this isn't how it is in other places in the NBA. You need to appreciate how well you're being treated, the fact that your owner and your general manager and your president know who you are and know your name and are interested in your overall well-being. I thought that was interesting because I think a lot of us assume that's how it is everywhere, but just how unique is the situation that Ryan's built here that you've helped foster in Austin and Jay-Z as well?
No, I think Utah is a great place, and I think it is a great culture. And we have a terrific coaching staff and front office who does put in time with everybody. And we have a terrific owner that takes great interest in the lives of his people and, really does a lot of good things. I mean, we've talked about before, I think, Scotty, the food, the nutrition, and the strength training, and just like the push. But Will is a great communicator, and Ryan is a great communicator, and so is Austin. Like those, and Justin obviously has been doing it for years. So I feel like it is a good situation. Yeah, we're not. I think the honest, open opportunities for success. It's not about how fancy the food is or how fancy the facilities are or how fancy the arena is. It's more about like what opportunities can we provide for them to have success.
What has Kevin Love meant to this team, not just as a player, but as a mentor in that locker room?
Yeah, Kevin's been fun. I mean, he's got a great personality. He's got a good perspective. He's been around a long time. I mean, Kevin Love played high school basketball with my nephew and won state championships in Lake Oswego, Oregon. And I've watched him play a long time, including in freshman year at UCLA and throughout his NBA career. So it's great for us to have Kevin on our team with all his experience, and he provided great leadership this year.
And again, I don't want to get you into trouble. I'm not sure exactly what the rules are in terms of restricted free agency, but what are the conversations like with Walker Kessler and the discussions on what the offseason will look like with him?
I think those have just been conversations that have been going on for a long time, last summer and, all during the season. But yeah, I shouldn't get into those conversations because I'm not involved in every single one of those conversations. And so I feel like Walker knows how much we love him and how much we want him and how much he's a part of our team's success. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens.
How impressed are you with guys that, we've talked specifically, I think, last week about Ace Bailey and Cody and their development with these extra opportunities down the stretch of this season. But I think Kyle Filipowski, now I don't know with a healthy team next year what kind of role he has or what the playing time looks like, but it sure seems like he took advantage of every opportunity given to him down the stretch.
Yeah, I thought all the young guys showed really good signs, and what a great opportunity it is for them to play. You just don't find that too much. I mean, this year in the NBA, there was more opportunities than I've seen, maybe in my entire NBA career and history. But I think that, those guys appreciate it, and I thought they played like they appreciated the opportunity, and they played hard.
Danny Ainge joining us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. So when you start bringing guys in, I'm sure you may have already brought guys in for workouts and getting a look at these guys. How important is the interview process when you're able to sit down and chat with these guys in your evaluation of who they are as a player?
I think that it is for sure important. Sometimes it makes a big impact or break some ties with some players. But I think that the interview process and the workouts and the visitations to our facilities and meeting people and all of the close relationship opportunities, you're learning about the player, his personality, his thought process, watching film with them, I think those are big parts of the evaluation.
Does a lot of this get pushed off until the lottery when you actually know exactly where you're picking in the draft before you can really start bringing guys in? And, because some agents may hold them out a little bit before they know exactly where you're at in the draft?
Yeah, a lot of agents will not allow their guys to come in for workouts until after the lottery, sometimes usually until after combine. There's some rare occasions in players that don't really know where they stand at all. You can get some kind of workouts in earlier occasionally, but typically they come after Chicago Combine and the draft lottery, just because of what you said there. The agents are trying to not have their players go to 20 workouts, and they're trying to fine-tune their lottery position or their draft positions.
Do you like putting, when you get a guy in for a workout and you push him hard physically, are you looking, because you've seen so much film, you know what he can do out on the court, are you looking to see how he can handle things emotionally as much as physically when you really try to push him, and especially if maybe that's his third workout in 5 days, things along those lines?
Yeah, I think you got to be careful with making an evaluation on just a draft workout. Obviously, their whole careers matter a great deal, and you see the competitive spirit, you see their emotional stability as they played throughout their careers. But there is a lot to learn in a draft workout. And, yeah, I like to see guys push. I like to see guys, fight through, missing 3 or 4 shots in a row and, how they're responding to the pressure and the defensive pressure and the pressure of the moment. It's a really fun process. I'm excited about it.
Oh, I bet. Are you, is there ever a level of, I'm trying to think of the right word here, strategy in who you bring a player in with, like so that you want to see him matched up against a certain skill set or a certain type of mentality, a certain level of physicality that another player brings when you bring him in for a workout?
Yeah, that has been the strategy over the years, but it's getting harder and harder. Oftentimes agents are protecting their players. They don't want to have any injuries, and they don't want them to look bad. So they are dictating a lot of who those workouts are. It's not just our choice. even though like we do think those things through. And if we do have the opportunity, for example, when I was in Boston, Jaylen Brown and his agent, like they didn't care who they'd work out. Marcus Smart and his agent, they didn't care at all. Bring anybody in, anybody on the draft board will come in and work out. And they're both very, very highly rated players. But that's more rare.
That's hard not to fall in love with a player like that too, though.
Agreed.
Yeah. What kind of ceiling does a guy like John Concher have? I mean, he's just a fun player to watch because it's. I think there's a lot of people, especially here in Utah, that envision, hey, if I were playing in the NBA, that's how I would play. I'd be diving for loose balls. I'd be all over the court. I'd be harassing guys right and left. He's a hard guy not to root for.
Yeah, John had a good year for us and was able to also have some opportunities to play more than he's had in his career to this point. And so, yeah, but we have watched John play as a young player and with us this year and been able to observe him in practice and his work ethic and character. And, he passes all those tests. And John is a good player. He plays defense. He knows where the ball's going. He anticipates quickly. Both ends of the court. He moves the ball. He's unselfish, and everybody loves playing with John.
Well, Danny, we appreciate your time as always. I know this is a busy time for you and that staff, and I know that you guys are putting in a ton of work getting ready for the NBA draft here. Are you able to tear yourself away from that work and enjoy the playoffs, or at least watch it and keep track, or do you just stay laser focused on the offseason?
No, I love the playoffs, and I'm always watching and evaluating teams and players in the playoffs. And but this is a really fun time of the year. With NBA playoffs is where we aspire to be. It's what we're trying to get to. It'll be fun watching playoff hockey this year.
Oh yeah,
and playoff basketball. And still spend a lot of time in the gym here with our players and draft prospects over the next couple months.
Before I let you go, I know that I was a little hesitant on the play-in games, but I've come around and we've seen some really good ones over the last couple days. Where are you at on the play-in games? Is this something that you think was beneficial for the league?
Yeah, I do. I like the play-in games. I mean, the Clipper-Warrior game last night was really intense and fun game to watch. But yeah, no, I do enjoy the play-in situation.
Well, Danny, appreciate it. We'll let you go. Thanks for your time as always, and we'll chat again here very soon.
All right, Scotty. Have a good summer.
You got it. There he is, Danny Ainge, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Take a break. What you may have missed coming up next, right here on the Zone.
You're locked on to Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time for another edition of What You May Have Missed right here on the Zone. Brought to you by Paris RV. It's Toy Hauler Month at Paris RV with over 200 new and used toy haulers in stock across 20 brands. They're sure to have what you're looking for. See them now at any of their 4 locations at Paris RV. Well, I know that you may miss it tonight because I think everybody's looking ahead to Sunday. But, yes, there is one more game left to be played. Nothing can be gained by this game tonight against St. Louis. Nothing can be lost in this game tonight against St. Louis for the Utah Mammoth. But it will be a 5:30 start, ESPN game, but you'll hear it right here on the Zone, 4:30 pregame show. Mike Fulta will join us coming up at 2:05. But that place, I got to imagine, even though there's not a lot on the line, Lloyd, it's probably still going to be hopping tonight because that place has been absolutely on fire throughout the final stretch of the season. It's just been incredible. Alex Ovechkin, as we stick with the NHL, I kind of thought he'd be done. But no, he said that he's pretty sure that Tuesday's season game against Columbus for the Washington Capitals won't be his last game. Still contemplating retirement, but he said, to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure it's not my last game. I hope it's not my last game against Columbus. I have a decision to make to see where we're at. The team, family, the kids are already asking me, Dad, are you staying or no? And I tell them, we'll see. They want me to come back. They love the city. They love the team. They love the boys. Alex Ovechkin, if he comes back next year, 22 years. And look, it's one thing if you're LeBron And look, the NBA is super physical. I get that. But LeBron playing 21, 22 years, that's impressive. It certainly was impressive what Tom Brady did playing into his 40s. But Alex Ovechkin playing the nastiest, most physical sport in professional sports, playing 82 versions of that every year, and coming back for another year, telling you, these are the tough guys right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.